Understanding Narcissism Through the Map of Consciousness. Table of Contents. Section 1. Charting Human Consciousness. The Hawkins Scale. Imagine a scale that measures the energy we emit. This isn't science fiction. It's the map of consciousness developed by Dr. David R. Hawkins. This map, calibrated through kinesiology, charts human consciousness from shame, which is 20, to enlightenment, which is 1,000. Each level corresponds to specific emotions and behaviors, offering insight into our inner world and its outward expression. This map isn't about judgment, it's about understanding. We all fluctuate along this scale, experiencing different emotions and expressing varying levels of consciousness. By understanding these levels, we gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and others. This map becomes particularly helpful when examining complex personality traits like narcissism. By understanding where narcissistic behaviors fall on the scale, we gain valuable insight into their root causes and potential pathways for growth. Section 2. Narcissism Unveiled. A closer look at the map. Narcissism, often characterized by an inflated sense of self-importance and a lack of empathy, finds its place within the lower levels of the Hawkins scale. This region, marked by emotions like pride, anger, desire, fear, and shame, reflects a state of ego-driven survival. Individuals operating from these lower levels often struggle with vulnerability, seeking validation and control to compensate for deep-seated insecurities. This need for external validation fuels narcissistic behaviors, creating a cycle of manipulation and self-sabotage. Understanding this connection between narcissism and the lower levels of consciousness is crucial. It allows us to move beyond judgment and into a space of compassion, recognizing that these behaviors stem from deep-seated pain and a disconnect from one's authentic self. Section 3. Trapped in lower levels. Emotions and behaviors. The lower levels of consciousness, where narcissistic tendencies reside, are characterized by specific emotions and their corresponding behaviors. These emotions, while present in all humans, manifest more intensely and frequently in individuals primarily operating from these lower energetic states. Pride, often mistaken for confidence, fuels a sense of superiority and entitlement. Anger, a reaction to perceived threats to the ego, manifests as aggression, manipulation, or withdrawal. Desire, an insatiable hunger for external validation, drives the relentless pursuit of admiration and control. Fear, lurking beneath the surface, fuels a constant need for self-protection, leading to defensiveness and blame-shifting. Shame, the deepest wound, triggers feelings of worthlessness, fueling the need for a grandiose facade to mask the pain. Section 4. Pride's Distortion, a Fragile Sense of Self. Pride, a prominent emotion in the narcissist's repertoire, creates a distorted reality. This inflated sense of self-importance, while appearing as confidence, masks a fragile ego desperately seeking external validation. This constant need for admiration stems from a deep-seated belief of inadequacy. The narcissist, unable to access their intrinsic worth, relies on external sources to prop up their fragile sense of self. This creates a vicious cycle where external validation provides only temporary relief, leading to a relentless pursuit of more. This insatiable need for validation drives many narcissistic behaviors, from bragging and exaggerating accomplishments to belittling others to elevate themselves. These actions, while seemingly self-serving, stem from a place of deep insecurity and a disconnect from their authentic self. Section 5. Anger's Fury, the Mask of Vulnerability. Anger, often a secondary emotion masking vulnerability, manifests powerfully in narcissistic individuals. Any perceived threat to their carefully constructed facade triggers defensive anger, a way to protect their fragile ego from exposure. This anger can manifest as aggression, ranging from verbal attacks and manipulation to more subtle forms of control and dominance. The narcissist, unable to process their own insecurities, projects their anger outward, blaming others for their own internal turmoil. This inability to acknowledge vulnerability stems from a fear of appearing weak or unworthy. The narcissist's sense of self-worth is contingent upon maintaining an image of superiority, making genuine vulnerability feel like an existential threat. In Section 6, Desire's Grip, an Insatiable Hunger. Desire in the context of narcissism becomes an insatiable hunger for external validation. This constant need for admiration and attention fuels a relentless pursuit of gratification, often at the expense of others. Relationships become transactional, a means to an end. The narcissist seeks partners who reflect their idealized image, providing a constant source of admiration and validation. However, this desire is never truly satiated, leading to a cycle of idealization, devaluation, and discard. This insatiable hunger stems from a fundamental disconnect from one's true self. The narcissist, unable to access their intrinsic worth, seeks external sources to fill the void. This creates a never-ending cycle of seeking, acquiring, and ultimately feeling empty once the novelty wears off. Section 7. Fear and shame, the hidden underbelly. Beneath the surface of grandiosity and entitlement lies a deep-seated fear of exposure. The narcissist, terrified of revealing their perceived flaws and insecurities, constructs elaborate defenses to keep these emotions at bay. Shame, the most painful emotion on the Hawkins scale, sits at the core of this fear. This deep-seated belief of unworthiness fuels the need for a grandiose facade, a way to overcompensate for the perceived defectiveness. This fear of exposure drives many narcissistic behaviors, from defensiveness and blame-shifting to gaslighting and manipulation. The narcissist, unable to confront their own insecurities, projects their shame onto others, maintaining their illusion of superiority. Section 8. The struggle to change defense mechanisms at play. Changing deeply ingrained patterns like those associated with narcissism presents a significant challenge. The narcissist's ego, fiercely protective of its constructed reality, employs various defense mechanisms to resist change. Denial, a powerful defense, allows the narcissist to avoid confronting their behaviors and their impact on others. Projection, another common mechanism, involves attributing their own negative qualities onto others, thus avoiding responsibility. These defense mechanisms, while providing temporary relief, ultimately prevent the narcissist from engaging in honest self-reflection. This lack of insight makes it challenging for them to recognize the need for change, let alone actively work towards it. Section 9. Breaking free. The path to higher consciousness. Breaking free from the lower levels of consciousness, where narcissism thrives, requires a conscious commitment to personal growth. This journey, while challenging, offers the possibility of cultivating greater self-awareness, empathy, and authentic connection. The first step involves acknowledging the presence of these patterns and their impact on oneself and others. This requires courage, honesty, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths about oneself. From this place of self-awareness, the individual can begin to dismantle the defense mechanisms that prevent growth. This requires a willingness to be vulnerable, to sit with uncomfortable emotions, and to challenge deeply held beliefs about oneself and the world. Section 10. Tools for transformation therapy, mindfulness, and support. Navigating the path to higher consciousness requires tools and support. Therapy provides a safe space to explore these patterns, understand their origins, and develop healthier coping mechanisms. Mindfulness practices, such as meditation and yoga, cultivate self-awareness and emotional regulation, essential for managing reactive emotions like anger and shame. These practices help calm the nervous system, creating space for introspection and self-compassion. Building a supportive network of individuals committed to personal growth is crucial. Surrounding oneself with people who embody empathy, authenticity, and accountability provides a mirror for growth and encourages continued self-reflection. Section 11. Embracing growth, a journey of self-discovery. The journey toward higher consciousness is a process of self-discovery, a continual unfolding of one's authentic self. It's about moving beyond the limitations of ego-driven patterns and embracing vulnerability, empathy, and genuine connection. This transformation isn't about achieving perfection, it's about progress. It's about recognizing that we are all works in progress, capable of learning, growing, and evolving throughout our lives. By understanding the map of consciousness and its implications for narcissistic tendencies, we can approach this journey with compassion, both for ourselves and for those struggling with these patterns. The path to higher consciousness is available to everyone, offering the possibility of healing, growth, and a more fulfilling life.